Finally, I'm up to Power Rangers Zeo. It's one of my favorite seasons. I personally love its designs. From the Zeo suits to the monsters, everything is mixed with tech. I don't hate seasons that do organic / magic monsters, but they always feel like basic mutations that fit into Halloween. I like the more monsters that fuse with technology. That's more creepy to me. On top of which, the season starts a new fresh take on the franchise, so we get a lot more better stuff. Going from powers that can pollute water, making people fall in love with mailboxes, having the power to make everyone sleep, or turning everything to gold. The monsters and stories are more fleshed out. Episodes usually never feel rushed, so I got a lot of stuff to pick from.
Robo Cupid.
Her design is simple, red and black with a big eye in the middle. I always try to think of a way these monsters without mouths talk. Since they're cyborgs or robots, it's easier. I just say they have speakers in them. Her powers are actually really powerful. When you think about it, they're goofy and stupid in the basic sense, and you see a lot of funny bits with Bulk and Skull, plus herself and Clank, but she can make people fall in love with any type of mechanical device. That means off camera in the R-rated version of the show, she's probably killed thousands of people that fall in love with nuclear reactors, saws, needles, construction equipment, zoos, guns, lasers, trash compactors, the list goes on and on. It would have been interesting if Alpha was affected and fell in love with the Zords, blocking them from being launched. Now imagine if the Power Rangers were defeated all because a million people flocked to their weapons or suits. The Machine Empire would have gotten praised around the universe for the most ironic win ever.
Main Drain.
I really liked his look. He's a cross between a Sasquatch and lightning rods, which is perfect to the story. A lot of times monsters have no correlation with their powers and the plot, except those exposed wires. You just want someone with scissors to snip them. He also feels old with the piston motors on the back. He can suck any electricity out of anything, so he's screwed with the Zeo Megazord's power. Plus, he's one of the few monsters that destroyed a Megazord sword. It was a pretty big moment for the show.
Mechanized.
I could sum him up as Giant Creepy Head. Mixed with engine exhaust on his shoulders, he has a spike. I noticed almost all the Zeo monsters have them. The episode did give Billy some good use. I still hated that he stopped being important to the show. The warehouse fight was excellent. The place was on fire, so they had to fight around exploding barrels of fuel. The explosions of the warehouse were very impressive. You have to give O-Ranger something. You get to see this footage again of the collapsing roof, recycled in the uncensored version of Time Force when Eric activates the Quantum Morpher. It just sucks that there was no giant fight with Mechanizer.
Somnibot.
Another monster with a good power that looks goofy. I didn't care for her face. Weird eyes. It always made her look like she was drunk versus sleepy. Her torso looked like it was made from a fish that had a face falling asleep in it. But she could kill a lot of people, making anyone fall asleep. Worst ones I could think of are people driving, like munition trucks, trains, and planes. Her power-up form was even weirder. Got some spikes, turned gold. I guess that's her way of mocking the Gold Ranger. Her main face was converted into a giant speaker. Her torso face got teeth. Very odd that she's the type that could survive Gold's finisher. Wouldn't that mean all the machine monsters survive, even the cogs? Just keep repairing them?
Race Face.
Liked him because he had two modes, his monster form and spiked ball form. I liked his look. A combination of a mutated fish, bird, spikes, and an Asian-looking hat. He's also sleek compared to other machine monsters. They look like mashed up parts together. On the other hand, he looks like a professionally made turbine generator. Sadly, only used mainly in a Megazord fight, which is okay. It just sucked that he was finished off really quick in the second episode for the sake of the Zeo Mega Battlezord suspense.
Leaky Faucet.
He was so dumb looking, but the way he sprayed water out of his mouth was hilarious. That's why I liked him. Basically a fire hose looking mole dressed up in a yellow safety coat with a pickaxe. I always wondered how he traveled through the pipe system. The majority of it is small pipes. You have to assume he can shrink down. It was cool he came back a few more times. I just love Japan's quick way of showing a character is stronger by just making his hard hat a different color. My hat's blue now, Rangers. Now watch out.
Tough Tusks.
Every time I see this guy, I always wanted Tough Dust to be made from the remains of the Mastodon dinosaur. It would have been a cool twist. He's more of a whole Frankenstein monster look, part organic mammoth, rest of him a robot. It also looks like they took his feet design for Torozord. It must suck for him to have a tusk for an arm. He relies on his head laser so much. No explanation of why he's holding that Japanese sign. I just love PR's logic. When they blow up monsters made from things, they somehow revert back to what they were made of. So what's really blowing up?
Big stir.
He looked like a big orange fire hydrant and had that mini robot controlling him, so was Clank and Orbis trying to make copies of themselves? It sucks that these monsters are used for bad. He would have been great. Help out in construction work with that red jackhammer, or diverting volcanic eruptions from towns since he can deal with high temperatures. This guy's always made me think he was a robot master from Mega Man. His left shoulder looked like he had a dowsing rod combined with a warning light sign.
Cruel Chrome.
When I first saw him, the first thing I thought of was Ultraman. Very similar colors and shape. Cat Ranger and SPD looks very similar to him too. A robotic head-like dog top, and his chest looked like a spread-out microscope with that green knob and red gem. He does look like he has a diaper on though. It was a pretty good Zord fight. He was causing a lot of issues for the Rangers while Tommy was missing. He's probably lasted the longest in a Zord battle.
Midas Monster.
I had to go for the Midas Monster as my number one, not because he can turn anything to gold, including Jason. I feel sorry for Austin for being spray painted like that. He's the coolest looking monster from Zeo. He's black and gold, looks kind of like a train. One arm has a giant laser weapon and the other has a power saw, plus 2 shoulder guards. He seems the most practical out of all the monsters. It sucks that he didn't have a mind. He's just randomly turning things to gold. I also like the dog statue version of him. I wouldn't mind having a statue made out of as a paperweight. I wouldn't be surprised if a Legacy Zeo Megazord is made, they make a Comic-Con exclusive black and gold version that would look similar to the gold parts done in this episode. O-Ranger gets a lot of flack for nearly killing Senta. Yeah, it deserves it, but good came out of this season 2. The designs were one of them. All the monsters, mecha, villains were really a nice fresh coat of paint. I'm glad Zeo didn't do the same mistake as the last 2 years did. The show does need to always bring in new ideas to the table, but not everything was perfect. There are some monsters that were bad in Zeo. I'll be telling that list next week.